The holidays are supposed to be relaxing. Time to decompress. And yet, this version of Team Canada seems to be raising the stress level, the collective stress level of this nation. It's one of the weirdest starts to a tournament ever. They have 2 shutouts, Bob, and yet it's anxiety-inducing.
Come on, James, never in doubt. Come on. I mean, and the goal that won it for them. I mean, they hit post after post after post in the third period. And I guess you could, if you want to do the glasses half empty, you say, this team really grinds the gears to score goals, and it does. The flip side of that, though, is, after they hit those posts several times, is that in a really tight game where they easily could have cracked under the pressure and pulled a Latvia, they didn't. They found a way to get a goal, albeit one that goes off the backboard, off the goalie, and in. So it's sublime how the puck went in the net, but they got the win. And to your point, you know, Georgia's got a couple of shutouts. They've not given up an even strength goal in the tournament. They've given up 2 power play goals to Latvia, and they lost a game in a shootout. Otherwise, nobody scored against them. Now it's Finland and Germany, but you're right. I'm kind of at a loss to try and
I know we've been doing these
a
a long time. This is one of the stranger versions of Team Canada.
I like to I take pride in being around the game for a long time, and I have a couple different scenarios that play out in my head. It's either going to go this way or that way. I have no idea what these guys are going to get up to, if they're going to medal, if they're going to be gold medalists. But in some strange way, I could also see them beating the USA. That's how crazy it is. Maybe they have this crazy game plan where they're going to have low-scoring games and their goaltender is going to be the star, and that's how they're going to get it done. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, you would think that strong defense is what they're going to have if they're not going to put the puck in the net in great numbers and great volume, right? When I look at this game tonight, yeah, the high danger chances were 8-3 in their favor, which isn't great, but they were resilient. On that last goal, Bob, they did fight to get into the paint. And sometimes when you're playing against a lesser opponent or, you know, who took a page out of Latvia's book, who set up net front, it is really difficult to get in. So when they play against the Americans, in some ways, they may find it easier to generate just because the game isn't played where there's so many players just holding pat in the middle of the ice.
That's what I can't figure out, though. What is the Americans putting up a 10 spot against these guys mean?
We've got 2 days to talk about that and try to figure it out.
Right.
But let's be honest, the Finns were a very goal-challenged team against Canada. They looked pretty good against the Americans. The Latvians are not a high-scoring team, and yet they found a way to beat Canada. And the Germans are not. So they haven't come up against a team that has Ryan Leonard and James Hagens and Gabe Perreault, and on it goes. So,
but you can't play this game of, the Americans scored 10
No,
because the Germans scored 4 against the Americans.
Yeah, the difference is like 2.
The Finns beat the Americans, and Canada beat the Finns 4-0. So it's definitely a dangerous game. What we can say is a lot of years we worry about the goaltending. Right now, the goaltending is the last thing we are worried about because Carter George is writing a story right now, 56 for 56.
I was joking about the Four Nations face-up, but we're going to get them there. I think the fans understand, and they've hitched their wagon to this guy, saying these guys aren't going to score that many goals, and we're going to need this goaltender to win a gold medal, and he's been exceptional. I think the crowd was chanting Georgie, Georgie after the game. He even got a helper. He's doing it all for Canada, and hey, there's a bunch of different ways to win, and if you're not going to score a bunch of goals, you got to have a guy that gives you confidence back there, and he's doing it all for Canada right now.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to, as we move forward through this tournament, as they play the Americans, we're going to see some rush play, right? There was a lot of offensive zone time for the Canadians, but now we're going to see back and forth action, I believe, against the Americans with the power play that has also changed for Canada with Dickinson on the back, and we saw that bumper goal by Bonk.
And some credit, really good defensive third period, and they didn't take any dumb penalties in the third period, and that leads them to victory. We figured when it started that the Canada New Year's Eve game against the U.S. would mean everything. It was just a crazy journey to actually get there, and it's massive because the way the things break down, the loser of that game may finish third and have a much tougher quarterfinal game.